Good afternoon, everybody. Just about good afternoon. I think we're a minute to afternoon. But on behalf of the team and the board at Visit Inverness Loch Ness, a big welcome to the steading at the beautiful Aldourie Castle for today's members event. My name is Don Johnston. I had the privilege of becoming the new CEO of Visit Inverness Loch Ness in October of last year. There we go. And I'm also, as a result of being an accidental tourism enthusiast, and I'll cover that in a bit. I've had the pleasure of meeting and speaking to some of you in the room already, but there are many new faces, and I look forward to the chance to chat to you throughout the day. If I've not chatted to you already, please just give me a tag on the arm, and if not, give me a shout and we can have a catch up and a chat at any point in the near future. So, as it says on the screen, accidental tourism enthusiast, and that came about on the day that I met Heather, the Visit Scotland Coovan. So in 2018, I'd left my role at Inverness Caledonian Thistle, was looking for a new challenge, a new adventure, and while I was deciding what I was going to do, I thought, I'll take a wee job with Visit Scotland, driving a coovan all over Scotland, meeting other travellers in Scotland to share stories, inspire them and encourage them to either return in the future again or to do more on their visit here. So I did that for 2 summers because I got the bug for it. I realised that I was getting all the thrills from working in tourism that I got from working in football with very little of the downside. So I want to stick with it. Did 2 summers, 176 locations across the whole of Scotland. And somebody paid me to be out there doing that. I started full-time with Visit Scotland in March 2020, just 2 weeks before lockdown. I was due to be a quality tourism advisor, going around giving the star ratings. I've graded 1 or 2 people in the room here. Fingers crossed that it was all positive and it was all good. Although there is one gentleman in the room, and I shall not name him, who I don't eat red meat, but he decided to serve me bacon for my breakfast. So it's a story we laugh about, we look back on, and it's all good fun. So moving, obviously been out on the road, doing quality tourism advice wasn't an option during lockdown. So I, aside from helping with funding, giving business advice, making sure we could do what we can to keep businesses ready and in a state when we got out of lockdown, I took a secondment to business growth and development, thoroughly enjoyed that, before returning onto the road at the end of 22, beginning of 23. And then this job came up, the opportunity to come and be a leader at Visit Inverness Loch Ness. As a local Inverness lad, was one that I couldn't pass up. Threw my hat in the ring, went for an interview, managed to impress, and here I stand today. So, moving on to talk about the destination, because you've all heard enough about me, and looking at some key facts. Most people will know the destination, most people know what we're about, so keeping these short and brief. So our destination includes the Highland capital Inverness, the world famous Loch Ness, and many great other things besides. We are really lucky to be easily accessible by road, rail and car. You have Inverness Airport, the A9, A96, that just bring people to Inverness. We cover 44 communities across 1,200 square miles. And more than 1 in 4 people in the area are directly employed in tourism. The most recent available figures suggest that visitor numbers are returning to at or about what they were pre-COVID. Certainly they will reach that or go beyond in 2024. So that's 1.6 million visitors to the area, an area with a population of about 81,000, although sources tend to be a bit up or down on that, depending which one that you look at. So, and all in all, the area generates £330 million of positive economic benefit from tourism on an annual basis. So what is it visitors like most? What is it that brings them to the area? They like our scenic beauty. I don't think anybody can argue about that. Our history and culture, everywhere you go. From the towns and the villages to the castles and forts and houses with stories of famous figures from Scottish history and local history. The hospitality, that's if you were putting that list in order, hospitality would be top of the list. Outdoor adventure, people, they like to come here for the walking, the cycling, the climbing, the abseiling, the canoeing, paddle boarding, gorge walking. Basically anything that you can think of that's outdoors and getting the blood boiling and the adrenaline going. People are loving it. The food and drink experiences are highly rated, including our whisky options. We have Tomatin just south of Inverness. We have the new Levisht at Glenmore, down by the river. Glenard, who are Nopton members of ours, also offering whisky. Peace and tranquility. So that's the other thing that people like here. And then that's an uncharacteristic, perhaps, photo that I took from Doors Beach in August, I think it was, last year, where on a midweek day, and there was nobody about. So, it's not always as it's sometimes portrayed as being packed and inaccessible. So what do our visitors tell us is missing? Well, the picture on the right there probably gives away number one on the list. Public transport options. So that is something that we already have. Following a successful ballot, we have funding and support to bring in a member to the team who are going to look at all the transport options within the area, do a bit of benchmarking, bit of an audit, see what we've got, see where the gaps are. And then people also tell us they're missing city centre entertainment. So whilst it's not our remit at Visit Inverness Loch Ness, as a bid doesn't cover the city centre, we do speak to City Bid. We have done a couple of collaborations with them recently, the Taster of Inverness event, the Food and Drink Fortnight, and we're set to do more. We have options coming down the line. We've got the transformation that's happening with Inverness Castle, which is going to be huge, and that's set to be ready in the end of the first quarter of 2025. We have the new kind of multi-level entertainment facility that's going to be offering axe throwing and pool and darts and all these kind of things. So things are getting better on that front. And I think it's important to say here, what people are saying is they want more variety. They're not complaining about what's already there. They just want more variety. They want more things to do. And we also have to highlight to them that actually you don't have to go far beyond the city centre to be finding some other options. Eden Court Theatre, being the one that kind of immediately comes to mind. And as I was talking to somebody about earlier on, the loss of the ironworks was big. That was a big thing for the city to lose. So, yeah, maybe somehow we all get together, we find people in the room that are interested in doing something, we can have a look at that, we can do it as a community project. Who knows? These are all conversations that are to be had. Public toilets, that seems to be a regular one that comes up. Again, conversations with people this week. I know there are doors right next to us here. They're looking at their options for what they can do in that regard, alongside some other kind of development projects and things that are going on. But yeah, I think we have to look across the whole area, get an understanding of what we got, get an understanding of what we can do, and how we can maybe improve the offering in that regard, which also may tie into this point. The they would like to have more information centres and information points. So it makes sense if you've got people stopping somewhere that you can tie that in with public toilets, parking, information centres. What we have, again, is really, really very good. We just maybe look to see where we can add and improve that. And again, the last one possibly ties in a bit. If people, we have dark spots for 4G and mobile connectivity around the area. So if people can't get online and they can't connect to the internet and get the information that they're looking for or things to do in the area, then maybe that's where we need to focus, providing information points. These are all things that can kind of tie in together, where one project can potentially have multiple positive impacts. So looking at Viln over the last 5 years and what's happened. So we've successfully delivered the 2019 to 2024 business plan in full and on budget, despite all the challenges that we faced and that everybody's faced. I'm going to have to pull up my sheet for this one. So we've delivered improvements across all areas of marketing and promotion. So we've distributed over 900,000 see and do maps. That was the map that was on the table when you came in. Then they go into the hands of visitors and they cover the whole area, places for people to go, stuff that they can take part in, and we will be continuing to produce them. They've been hugely successful and on that front. I think I've just broken it. So when they tell you don't press the right button, don't press the right button. Further on the marketing, we have a new website that was developed that has generated over 100,000 referrals to member businesses. We saw 77% growth in social media, the social media following, which is up to 42 million reach across the 5 years. There's been a series of promotional videos done about the stories and things to do across the area. And as you can see up on the screen there, it recently aired. The BBC's Apprentice was hosted up in the area. That was the first episode in the recent series. Hugely successful, lots of chat about it on social media, lots of coverage and exposure for the area. And I'm still waiting to see who's going to be bold enough to be putting crumble-covered fish cakes on their menu. So we've increased the number of events that have been held, and some of these will go on to or have been held annually. We're looking at the Highland Shortbread Showdown, Loch Ness Challenge, the Power, oh God, Russell help me, there's the one at Held and Drumnadrock at the cycle event. We had one also at Torvain. There it was encouraging active travel. And we were also instrumental in bringing the Scottish Golf Tourism Week to Inverness, which will take place next month. An event in itself, which is estimated will generate 300 million of economic benefit for the area. So just off that one event, so not during the week, but as ongoing growth on that. So held over 40 networking events and webinars. Many of you will have attended these either in person or during lockdown. And that is something that we're going to be looking at to make sure that we're delivering these in the best way, in the most practical way, taking feedback from members. From my very first networking event after I joined, about looking at how these work for different sectors. So what's good for the accommodation sector in terms of a time and location for an event format might not work for the adventure tourism sector or the visitor attraction sector. So we will look at that to make sure that we're fitting in with all. So it may be that we do networking events that are sector specific, and then less regular events where it's encouraged to bring everybody together. We'll also be getting back to doing more of what you will see after I'm finished speaking, the 5 for 5, where businesses get a chance to stand up and have 5 minutes to talk about what they do. to other businesses, so everybody else gets a chance to understand what they're about, and see where there's opportunities to work on that. We attended 23 trade events worldwide. Again, this figure was hugely curtailed by COVID and the inability to travel. We grew our opt-in membership by 43%, which that's an important metric. I think that shows the businesses who are not levy payers, who don't fall within the levy payer setup, see the value in what we're doing and want to be a part of it. So to be continually growing those numbers, and it looks like we have a lot of interest in. If we have a successful ballot, we've got a lot of interest in additional businesses that want to come on board, that want to opt in, who wouldn't otherwise be levy payers. In the last 5 years, employed the first Loch Ness Ranger. That's a position that was then passed over onto Highland Council. They now they saw the value in that and decided that they would take it on and under their wing. And we have formed helped form culinary and adventure tourism strategy groups. You'll already be seeing some of the ideas that are coming out of that. The Taste of Inverness event, the Food and Drink Fortnight. These are the ideas that come out and are driven by and supported by these groups. The Adventure Tourism Strategy Group, they're also hard at work. They're looking at the possibility of doing something towards the end of this year. It's at this kind of early stages of planning, and we try to use these kind of events and things to push the ends of that season. So the food and drink events and whatnot we've done have been end of year, beginning of year. The adventure tourism guys are looking at end of October, beginning of November type time to do what they're doing. So it is looking to just push out and do something to try and assist with that seasonality. So what did you tell Visit Inverness Loch Ness? They were doing well. Marketing and social media, we've already covered that there. Is going well. The website, listings and content, there's a huge amount of work that's kind of gone into that. And it just, Joe Page is an absolute machine when it comes to the website and our social media content. She puts a lot of hard work into that. Provision of the media library, that's photos and videos that are available to our members to use in their marketing. And indeed, if you want to add to it, and share with other members. Provision of the visitor maps, as I said already, over 900,000 of them distributed over the last 5 years. Networking opportunities, and again, we'll do more of them. We'll be doing more days like this. Just don't necessarily expect this level of accommodation, but we will do our best. Newsletters going well, and the events that we're hosting, and the lobbying. There's been plenty of reason for upset in the industry, quite justifiably so, over the last few years. And it's good to know that it's appreciated, the voice that Viln provides is appreciated in that. So areas where you would like support, improve transport links, we've already talked about that. We already have plans in place to at what we're doing and how we're trying to work on that following a successful ballot. Sustainable and responsible tourism. We have an application in for funding, and if successful, it will allow us to conduct a 3-year project which will benchmark the entire area on sustainable and responsible tourism. So that's not just carbon footprint, it also looks like things like inclusivity, accessibility, community benefit, infrastructure, roads, travel, everything. And that will give us the benchmark for that. That we can work to, so we can identify areas of need, areas where we can improve, or areas where we want to improve, and then as it's a 3-year project, it'll provide funding to then put some of those projects in place. What it will also provide off the back of that is a online academy kind of setup that will be available to members, which would then provide them with information and tools to build their own knowledge, you know, and to help improve them on an individual member by member basis. Challenges of seasonality. Yeah, it's a long one. It's been challenged for a long time. I'm really heartened actually by some of the conversations I've had over the last 2 or 3 weeks when I've been out and about doing the drop-in sessions and speaking to businesses, where some people have been telling me that they're looking at their first quarter for this year, and it might be the best quarter they've had in a long time, and for 1 or 2 might be the best first quarter they've ever had. Certainly sitting in some of the hotels and stuff that I've been out and about at, there's been people there. So yeah, so you know, we just need to keep driving that. We just need to make sure that these people who are here and are coming here have the best experience possible, and they go away and they share the news with other people that, you know what, you actually can go Inverness and Loch Ness and that area in January and February and have a really good time. Food and drink promotion. Yeah, so when this consultation was done back in the middle of last year, you told us that you would like to see more on the food and drink promotion. I think we're already delivering on that. Taste of Inverness, food and drink fortnight, working with the influencers, the online influencers. 10 of them were brought into the area as part of Taste of Inverness, and the social media spread and the buzz that came from that was phenomenal. You're asking us for support in accessing the travel trade. Yeah, and this is something we will work on with our colleagues at Visit Scotland. They're already set up for it, to provide the advice for it. So it's just a case of us working to get them in front of our members to help them. There is one small group of members who, with fairly specific needs, who have a meeting set up to talk to Visit Scotland in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, so look out for more information on that in the very near future. Staff development and training. This is something we need to do more digging into. It kind of came back as a kind of blanket response from members, so we will be coming back out to you to say, can you give us some more specifics on that? What kind of staff development are you looking for? What kind of training can we direct you towards on that? And yeah, working with resident communities. And I think it's vital that we continue to work in this regard. Resident communities and funding, they're probably 2 of the biggest barriers to development and progressing things. But by working together, we can identify projects that are beneficial to all. You know, so, you know, transport, infrastructure, roads, you know, they help everybody. You know, and in the current funding climate, it opens up accessibility to funds that can make these projects happen that might not be available directly to us purely on a tourism basis. And then further collaboration opportunities. Yeah, I've mentioned it, I don't know how many times today. Taste of Inverness is kind of our flagship collaboration kind of success story from more recently. You know, bringing all those businesses into the room together and then seeing what came out the other side. You know, hotel chains that are now using local breweries. You know, like Loch Ness Ice Cream now have got themselves into another new couple of venues. People who are in attendance found themselves new employment. You know, new chances to work with other businesses. You know, and that's what these things are all about. You know, it's all about getting people working together. So what other challenges do we face? So the cost of doing business. It's easy for me to stand up here and talk about looking after people, looking after communities, looking after the environment, you know, but we also have to make sure that we're doing what we can to help businesses look after the bottom line. I'm acutely aware that numbers are returning, visitors are returning, businesses are as busy as ever. They're probably working harder than they ever had, but that bottom line is being squeezed and squeezed. So, there's a thing called the triple bottom line, which is people, places, and profit, and they're all important. So we can't lose sight of the fact that all these things are important, and hopefully through collaboration, through working together, through shared best practice, we can all help each other to find ways to just eke a bit more out of that bottom line, and financially make it all more worthwhile. Infrastructure. Yeah, infrastructure is more about the road. It's more than just roads. It's more than transport. It's housing. It's facilities for new employees coming into areas. And it's a challenge, but with challenges comes opportunities. We have the fairly recent announcement of the Green Freeport, 10,000 new jobs, potentially 10,000 new families. Where are they going to put them? We're already facing a housing crisis in the area. So, but there's an opportunity for us, and I've already had some of those conversations, to speak to the people who are behind this, to look at the infrastructure projects they're looking to put in place, and to see where we can work together with them, with government, with local authority, to do something that actually helps and benefits everybody, and that we don't get the benefit of one to the detriment of another. So, employment. Hopefully some of you, or hopefully all of you, if you're getting our newsletter, will have seen some information going out on this already, and some of the initiatives we're looking at. We've talked to UHI, who are telling us they have students that are available seasonally, and the problem in the past is that businesses are too late in going to them to say, do you have any students available? Because they finish up in May and they've already taken off and they're not available. So we've passed around details on that and how businesses can get access to it. If you haven't seen that, or you want more information on that, either let me know, speak to one of the team, drop us an email. We also have a couple other things coming in the pipeline in conjunction with local authority. They have a thing called the Hero Scheme, which is about getting people into work or back into work. They provide pre-employment training. They get people out into jobs. And if you're able to offer, for example, if you're able to offer at least a 12-month contract, there is some financial support for the business which comes with that. And then the DYW Department for Young Workers, Development Young Workers, thank you, in conjunction with the Chamber, the Inverness Chamber, who kind of look after that. So we've been speaking to them and how we can tie in and work with the Chamber to open these opportunities up for them with our members and for our members with them. And legislation, short-term let licensing. It's come into force, but it's still far from ideal. There's still discussions ongoing on how it can be improved and looked at and made less onerous. So we will be keeping an eye across that and continuing to champion for a fairer licensing system. The tourism visitor levy, everyone I speak to kind of has a different point on this. Some agree with it, they'll bring it on, it'll be great, it'll bring money to the area. Some are against it, just in the principle of it. Some are going like, yeah, but how's it going to be administered? Who's going to carry the cost of it? And then a lot of people just don't trust that the money coming in will be spent in the right ways. So again, already on this with local authority. I've told them I want to see it at the table for our members, as I was representing our members on implementation, where the money ends up being spent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and whether it actually goes ahead at all. And although they're talking about at least 2026 before this comes into effect, now is the time that we need to be at the table having those conversations when the decisions are being made, to ensure that we don't end up with another short-term let licensing situation. And the final one on this list is tax-free shopping. There's been a lot of research done. There's a lot of information coming out showing that the UK having got rid of tax-free shopping is putting off a lot of visitors from some of the most lucrative markets. So Asian markets in particular that come here, and they come here for shopping. They love to come to Scotland. They spend a lot of money in Scotland on Scottish products, whiskey being one of the big ones. And if we don't have tax-free shopping, then it's costing them more to come and shop here for these things than it is to say to go to France or Germany or one of these other European countries where they can get the tax break on it and save a whack on their big spends. So there was a recent call to action came out asking organisations such as Visit Inverness Loch Ness, other DMOs, chambers, retail groups to sign a letter which will go to the UK government lobbying for a reversal in their decision to scrap tax-free shopping, and I have penned our name to it. So we've looked at what happens and what we do, so let's have a look at what happens if we're not here. Without Visit Inverness Loch Ness, there will be no organisation to seek the funding that's been used to deliver additional activity and economic benefit to the destination. So what we're looking here is that funds that have been secured beyond what you pay in your levy memberships. Over the last 5 years, that totals approximately 1.25 million. And primarily these are funds that are only available or have only been available to destination management organisations and the such. So if you don't have one, then it's very tough to get access to these funds and the projects which benefit from these funds. There will be no organisation to market and promote the destination and all it has to offer. Visit Scotland do an admirable job of marketing Scotland as a whole, but they don't have, and it would be a little unreasonable to expect them to have, the more intimate local knowledge and the understanding to effectively market individual areas. So, yeah, Visit Scotland, they get people interested in Scotland. It then falls to the regional organisations, the area organisations, to showcase what they have and bring people to that area specifically. There will be less support for new and existing events and festivals, which will be critical in tackling seasonality. I talked a bit about it earlier on. A lot of the stuff that we're doing, both in terms of collaboration events, the Highland Shortbread Showdown, which the shortlisting event's this Saturday at the Botanic. So if you're free, come along. Free shortbread, lots of it. And we tried to, we're pushing these in the traditionally quieter seasons. To help grow these seasons. We're seeing growing interest from visitors for these beyond just the local resident populations. And I've said to the team, one day the Highland Shortbread Showdown will be the shortbread equivalent of the World Porridge Championships. There will be no organisation to be the conduit of communication between the public sector and the local tourism community. And this one's not really about lobbying or stuff. This is working with. We speak to local authority, since I've come in, I've spoken to local authority once a fortnight, if not at least once a week, about differing things. The Events and Festivals Working Group, which, needs a bit of G'ing up to be doing a bit more. And we hope to work with them on that. Things like the what's coming down the line with the visitor levy. Where can we work together? How can we be the voice for the businesses in seeing and finding ways that we can work together? And the flip side to that is acting as the voice for the destination and local national matters. So this is where the lobbying comes in. We can lobby directly with local authority. We're members of groups, wider groups, Highland Tourism Group, Scotland Tourism Groups, which can then feed back into Scottish Government and provide a voice, a collective voice, back to Scottish Government, also through other membership organisations. I know there's members of our board who are also with the Association of Scottish Self-Caterers, etc., these kinds of things. So there's lots of ways where we feed back the views of our members through to these to get them heard. And if we weren't here, then we, as a key destination in the UK, let alone Scotland, would be alone in having no destination level tourism organisation. So it's practically unheard of now, for one not to exist. So I'm coming to the end of my chat. How can you help? We ask you to be an advocate for Visit Inverness Loch Ness, for what we do and the benefits we can bring to the area. We ask that if you have any questions, queries or concerns, please speak to us. I joke that I would love to get everybody who doesn't understand what we are or see the benefit we are in the room and just let them come at me, because these are the people we need to speak to. If we don't know what the questions are, what the concerns are, what the queries are, then we're flying in the dark. It's that you don't know what you don't know. So if anybody knows how to make that happen, please make it happen. If you're speaking to another member business who are tell them to pick up the phone to me. Every ballot paper that went out has my email address on it. It has my telephone number on it. I am there if anybody wants to speak to me. And on that front, please return your ballot papers and encourage other members to do the same. People can be in support or otherwise of us all they wish, but if they don't return the ballot paper, that counts for nothing. And above all else, please vote yes. So that kind of brings me to the end of my bit on today. What we'll do is we'll save all the questions to the end. So once we've had the other members up to speak and things like whatnot, we'll all come at the end. We'll have a bit of Q&A session. We'll do it all together. So it gives you a chance to think about if you've got any questions. So if you've got any questions, hold them for now. You'll get a chance at the end. And even after that, if you're wondering about afterwards or whatnot and something comes to mind, give me a shout. If you go away tomorrow, next week, whatever it be, give me a shout. We were due to have Chris Taylor from Visit Scotland along to speak. Unfortunately, he had to pull out at the last minutes, so wasn't able to make it. But he has done as a video. Now, I've not had a chance to see this video or hear this video. So I'm hoping it's all good things that he said. And I'm hoping is our volume okay on it, Emma? Yep. Okay.
Hello, my name is Chris Taylor. I'm the Destination Development Director at Visit Scotland, and I'm really sorry I can't be with you in person today. There's two reasons why I'm really sorry. The first is that I was really looking forward to catching up with everybody because you are a brilliant bunch of people. And the second is I think it's really important that Visit Scotland, as the national tourism body, are really clear in our view about the opportunities ahead for tourism and the scope to work with all of you to make the most of those opportunities. The work that Visit Inverness Loch Ness have done and continue to do is absolutely essential in that space. And I don't underestimate for a second the scale of the challenges and the pressures facing you in running your businesses at the moment, both short term in terms of the cost of doing business and the long term macro factors that we all know well about transport, housing, labour markets, and indeed the climate emergency that's facing all of us. And it's important that we think about both and we keep an eye on that long term picture. The work that Visit Inverness Loch Ness have done, continue to do in positioning the destination, building awareness, showcasing your climate credentials, extending the season year round, promoting events and experiences is absolutely critical in that mix. We all see the work they do in public and with consumers, with visitors. They're real champions of the area. And I guess I also get to see the work that goes on behind the scenes where they're working tirelessly to champion the area, to promote you as businesses, to find opportunities and to help put things in place that will allow you to be successful. That's all delivered by a great team. So hats off to Dawn, everybody else at Visit Inverness Loch Ness, fantastic board, and of course all of you who have got engaged, rolled your sleeves up and helped make things happen together. Visit Scotland have always been supportive of the tourism bid and we continue to be very supportive. I think it's an absolute asset for the area and I wish you every success in the years to come. So thank you, enjoy the rest of your day and I hope to see you in person in the very near future. Thanks.
Okay, there you go. A few words from, and it was positive, so that's a plus. So we're running a couple of minutes behind, so we'll quickly move on now to present our 4 for 5 member talks. And first up, we have. Is that the right one? Is it you, Emily Skinner from Rabbie's Tours? Is that the right? Is that the right presentation?
Right,
Okay, I'm told you have to use the left button.
Left button, not the right.
And the building blows up if you press the right button. So please don't press the right button.
When does my 5 minutes start? As an ex-tour guide, I don't know how to restrict the amount of time I'm talking. And I have, some of you will know me from previous events and things. We're working for Rabbie's Tours, working for the Inverness departure, Inverness base of Rabbie's Tours up here. And I have done a 5 for 5 before. At what point I kept on seeing Michael looking at his watch, going from subtle to more and more grumpily. And I just kept on. So you'll have to literally haul me off throughout this now. I was saying to some folks before we started the talks that the last time I did a 5 for 5 was this time of year, 2020. And everyone was talking about this thing called coronavirus and what impact we thought it might have on the tourism industry. And such a lot has changed since then, so it's really fabulous to see so many people that I've met before that big, huge change for us. Still here, we're still going, we survived. I'm not going to go too much into what Rabbie's Tours are because I'm sure you're all familiar. In any tourism site across the UK and Ireland, you'll see a Rabbie's bus clogging up the car park very often. I just want to talk about some of the things that are changed or some new aspects of what we're doing in Inverness. We started the Inverness base in 2017 with 2 buses and 4 drivers. I'm going to have 11 buses this year and about 15 to 16 drivers. So we've really expanded it. That has been because, as you all know, I'm quite sure, Inverness is just one of the best, possibly the best place to base yourselves in the whole of Scotland to go out and explore. The rest of the Highlands, but also have received just some fantastic hospitality here in the town. And that's what we offer. We offer that opportunity for people to go a little bit further beyond the borders of the Inverness Loch Ness area and explore more from Inverness. So we've got, all through the year, a number of different day tours going as far away as the Isle of Skye. But we've also got 3-day tours that depart from Inverness, so overnight ones. I believe we still are the only people doing a scheduled NC500 tour, and we depart 2 days a week throughout the year, and we do the NC500 3 days, which is intense but good. But I believe we're the only people still doing that, and not as a private tour itinerary, but as any ones and twos can book on and see the NC500 even if they don't feel up for driving themselves. Our unique selling points next to all the other tour companies out there that leave from Inverness is that we always have a small group of people. We do not own vehicles that are bigger than 16 seats. So it's always going to be a small group. And we don't have a minimum set numbers before we run the tour. We'd rather run our buses full, but we do run even the 3-day tours with 2s and 3s of people on board them, so it saves disappointment for folks. I'm hoping that some of the, maybe you're putting up these slides available to the members after. Yeah. So I've left some live links on here for you to follow through as well. And later on as well, if you want, I've got some posters, which are Rabbie's posters from Lovely Look at the Sky. The QR code will take people straight to the Inverness tours, so the ones that depart from Inverness. What's changed for us? Well, new branding. So you'll see lots of Rabbie's buses about that might not look like they used to look. So we've got like a big capital R now, so people no longer think of us with that funny bird and mountain logo we used to have. We used to have people thinking we were called Crabbies Tours a lot of the time, along with rabies and rabbit tours. So no, we now definitely sound like Rabbie's Tours. We've got a capital R. We depart our tours no longer from the bus station, and that will be the same with a lot of other of the tour companies operating out of Inverness. We all kind of got out of bus station. Just the start of season last year, and we all had to scrabble around and find ourselves somewhere else to depart from. So we're all sort of spread in different places now, actually, a lot of the different tour companies. So we are, go from the Cathedral, Ardross Street. One of our new tours this season, Dunrobin and Easter Ross tour. I'm really excited about this one, as we're actually going to explore that little corner of Easter Ross, Tarbert Ness Lighthouse, the Mermaid of the North, things like that. We're going to be on the afternoon of that. And another new thing for us this year, which I'll talk about in a second, is the garage workshop we have now in Seafields Road, which is open to customers, which I'll talk about in a minute. If, for all the accommodation providers, if you have guests looking to do tours out of Inverness or offering them the option to do some tours with their days, something a little bit new with us is we're now working with Tour Desk, which is like an online travel agent, an OTA, which even small businesses can register to sell through. So you don't have to be a big organisation, you don't have to, because it's not got fees and to register. So even if you're really small and for free, you can register. You go to Tour Desk website, you can go on to be a reseller, so it's like hostels, B&Bs, as well as hotels and things can be a reseller. And then once you're registered, actually it's way more than Rabbie's, there's loads of other tour companies and loads of other things that you can book through that for your guests, and you will eventually trickle back a bit of commission. I think it's about 13% commission that you get on tour tickets for our sorts of things. And I believe that will also allow you to see some of our availability, instead of having to like maybe call me or email me and say, come and get these, or go to the Edinburgh office or whatever on the phone and come and get our people booked on a day tour on one of their days they're staying with us. You can go through Tour Desk, so we can talk about that later. Really quickly running on is we've now got a garage. Here's my lovely reception. We're on Seafields Road. I'll put the contact details up in a second. This is a brake tester. We basically are doing our own inspections and things of our buses, but we can do customer vehicles. I can give you a great rate, I'm very competitive. And we do services, we can't do an MOT, but we can do an awful lot of other things. And if he was here today, he would say what's really good is I've already got 2 of Gordon Pearson's WOW buses through their MOTs ready for the season. So here's the contact details for the brand new, what I have basically been killing myself over in the last few months, which is setting up the Rabbie's garage in Seafield.
Okay, hi there. I don't normally do this, so that was very hard to follow. I hope you can all hear me or possibly see me. I'm quite short. My name's Julia and I'm from Spirit Journeys. Now, some of you may know what Spirit Journeys does. Some of you may think you know what you do, but we actually do quite an awful lot in our little TARDIS. We're like a TARDIS of a company. We got 3 brands. We've actually got 5 brands. During COVID, we started selling Scottish cheese hampers to England. So we kept that going after COVID. It's a very small part of our business. And we also started a chauffeuring business as well. So for anyone that needs airport transfers or executive transfers, we actually do chauffeuring as well. But our 3 main brands that have been on the go since the beginning is SJ Travel. It's a travel agency just up in Fairways. We sell holidays. That's what we do. We sell holidays worldwide. We also have Spirit Journeys Worldwide, which is our B2C bed. We're a tour operator. We act as a tour operator selling custom holidays around the world, including Scotland. With that, we deal directly with the customer. But we also have DMC Highlands, which is what I'm going to talk about, which would be of interest to you, each and every one of you as a member. Did I press the right one? Yeah, so basically DMC Highlands, we like to organise holidays, but you know, on the road less travelled. We like to be unique, we like to be different. What does DMC stand for? It's a destination management company. Okay, we work mainly with the trade under this brand. Okay, we organise, we're based in Inverness, we've got years of experience, we are fully bonded, we create very unique experiences. We work deep inside the travel trade. So the travel trade that some of you are trying to access may only deal with a DMC. They might not deal with you directly. They want someone on the ground, so if something goes wrong, we're the ones that represent that company. So we have got quite a few large contracts, small contracts. We work with tour operators, travel agents all over the world. And we organise very unique experiences. They mainly come to us because we're a small DMC. They mainly come to us for our imagination. They don't want the standard tours. So we quite often go out and we ask people to do things that they might never have done before. We've got our own fleet of vehicles, like we've said. We've got our own exclusive tour guides that tend to work with us, but we also work with other tour guides. And we work with all suppliers, from the small local bike hire right up to exclusive castle use. So we don't know what we're going to be asked for on a day-to-day basis. So this is all what we offer to overseas customers. We offer individual FIT tours, whether by self-drive, by train, by private tour guide. We offer that. We offer group travel, mainly ad hoc group travel. So if someone's got a knitting tour that they want to come, you know, or a golf tour or anything, we tailor-make, we handcraft these tours. Family travel, we were doing pre-COVID scheduled tours. We haven't gone back up that road because I think our expertise lies in customising tours for people. We do shore excursions, though. We do private and scheduled. So for every ship that comes into Invergordon, we do have 3 coaches that leave from Invergordon, and we've been asked to expand that all over Scotland. So that's going to be expansion for us. We do bespoke weddings, but small weddings. We haven't gone into any big weddings, and we do honeymoons as well. We offer ground services for many big tour operators around the world who'll use us, like I said, to do actually be their representatives in Scotland. We do groups and events. We do MICE travel, which is meetings and sensitive and corporate events. And we actually believe in lasting memories. So anyone that we deal with, we create a memory of some kind. So why do they use us? Well, I'm going to give you an example of a tour that we did last year. Last year we had a charter. We had a charter plane that came into Inverness. There was 125 people on it. They had 2 days to spend in Inverness, and we give them some very, very unique experiences, from using Strathpeffer Hall for their gala dinner. You know, Strathpeffer Sweet Shop came in. We had Micah in Your Element doing, you know, canoeing and cycling, calf dancing with the Germans, all these different things. There was many suppliers involved in creating this event, which made it absolutely fantastic. One of the best things, actually, and I think this was, when the lady came over for the sort of inspection, I took her for fish and chips. She asked me what I was going to have for dinner. So I said, I'm just going to have fish and chips. I'm not going anywhere. So she says, I've never had fish and chips. So anyway, we actually at that time did fish and chips from McLeod chip shops for 125 people at Fort George. And it was amazing. So that's what I mean. We get asked to do very, very different things, and we use our imaginations quite a lot of the time. So basically, that's what we do. We're passionate about what we do. We're based in Inverness. We tend to all use local people. We get them all out of Edinburgh and up here where possible. We're always quoting for longer stays in the area. And that is us.
Hi, my name's Dr. Catherine Jones. I work at the Inverness and Invergordon practice, so I'm a bit like a fish out of water here. This is not a normal work day for me. Oh, sorry, I've put it backwards already, I think. How do I go back? Oh, sorry. Yeah. So a bit like Emily, we seem to share a love of yellow and also a love of talking. So conciseness isn't my strong point either. Anyway, so as I said, I'm an NHS GP, and in 2022 I founded Wellness Spa and Retreat, and delighted to be able to share some of that story with you today. So Wellness aims to have social impact on 3 levels. We facilitate life-enhancing retreats for individuals, aiming to help people reach their full potential, but also to prevent, treat and reverse long-term conditions. We also aim to create a platform to showcase local talent, talent that's quite hidden in our local communities in the creative arts and holistic therapies. At a community level, we aim to boost our local wellbeing economy by making Drumnadrochit the destination of choice for off-season wellbeing retreats, but also to contract with micro businesses within our local community that, again, are usually hidden from the eye of our average tourist to the area. And on a planetary level, probably the most important element, we aim to influence more sustainable narratives about health and well-being, to reduce a kind of unacceptably high level of harm to us as patients, to our health professionals, and to the environment that our current model of healthcare is generating. So, to give you a bit more of a feel of the ethos and values of Wildness, I'm going to tell you the story of the Golden Buddha. I don't know if anyone's heard this story. So I'm going to take you to Thailand, 1957, and an enormous terracotta Buddha is being moved location. And in the process, some of the clay gets damaged and reveals that this is not actually a terracotta Buddha. This is a 5.5-ton solid gold statue. And in fact, it is the most valuable sacred item in the world. And the story is that hundreds of years before, the Burmese army were invading Thailand, and the Thai monks decided to cover this precious statue in clay to hide the true value. And the analogy of that for us as human beings is that when we're born, we're our true golden self. But as we go through life, we often start covering ourselves in protective clay in response to some of the challenges that we encounter. And this manifests itself as self-limiting beliefs about our identity, our abilities or lack of. And unfortunately, this clay can be compounded by friends, family, colleagues, even our boss, who can apply further layers of clay. And that can manifest itself with such thick layers that we completely lose connection to our purpose and to our sense of identity, which can portray itself in burnout, long-term conditions, medically unexplained symptoms. My own experience of being covered in clay manifested itself after 3 years as an associate medical director when I started to have real problems with brain fog. And this set me on a quest to learn about the most powerful ideas of how we can overcome physical, mental and emotional challenges to really achieve our full potential. And it inspired me to retrain as a health coach and a lifestyle medicine physician. Unfortunately, I was able to persuade NHS Highland to allow me to integrate some of these approaches in my clinical work in Aldourie and Invergordon. And I've been totally blown away by how just sharing these concepts with people like neuroplasticity, how we can rewire our brain using creative flow, connection with nature, strength training and mindfulness to overcome a whole array of health conditions that often with conventional healthcare are treated with a whole range of drugs and tremendous harm. So this inspired me to want to share some of these ideas with people, but also with health professionals. You know, many health professionals don't know about this new cutting edge science and are still reliant on drugs, which breed dependence on the system and is causing enormous financial problems for the health service, as you're probably aware. So I realized that on my own, I wasn't going to be able to get very far. So I set out seeking great people from my local community, and nearly all of these people live in Drumnadrochit. You know, Drumnadrochit is a very, very special place. It's a village of 1,100 people. 10% of the village are members of the Shinty Club, which is pretty amazing. We've got 3 community associations. I mean, it's just incredible. And within 12 months, Wildness has grown into this incredible collective of health professionals, personal trainers, creative artists, artisan cooks. But most importantly, people with lived experience of recovery, people that have chipped away at that clay and found their golden core. And 3 people that you may know from the business world, Fergus Weir, Managing Director of TechClan. So he discovered that a technique called somatic experiencing and thermotherapy enabled him to overcome a diagnosis of chronic fatigue. Pamela Irving, she's a personal trainer in Inverness. She was using weight training to deal with menopause symptoms. She's now the British powerlifting champion. James Hickson, he's a personal trainer in Drumnadrochit. He found that the power of the pen, as he called it, spoken word art, he has an incredible talent for spoken word art, that helped him to leave behind years of addiction to drugs and alcohol. So all of these people have kind of share my vision of, a more sustainable approach to health and well-being. And through them, in the first 12 months of trading, Wildness delivered 10 sold-out events, attracting rave reviews, national media coverage, and even financial support from the NHS. And I have to say that Northwest Photography did these photographs, and they're absolutely fantastic. So on the left, we've got an introduction to lifestyle medicine for health professionals. On the right, we've got introduction, navigating the menopause retreat. This was a wintering retreat. So I have to say, one of my big things is getting people here out of season. And 2 consecutive Januaries, I've done events where people have come from London, Kent, Manchester. It is possible. So this was Malardick House in the middle of Glenclannick, pretty brave, first weekend of January. This is loch swimming. Marisa, who's come along today, this was her first experience of loch swimming in Loch Malardock. You can see the snow on the hills. And the events have been absolutely tremendous. So we've got a programme of planned events this year. But really what I want to say to you is, we're happy to deliver bespoke events for organisations to help the organisation find its golden core and the employees. And we'd be really happy to have conversations with anyone who'd like to know more about that. So please do approach us. And that's our contact details. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming today, and a special thank you to Inverness Loch Ness for organising everything. The last few years we've been knee deep in renovations here at Aldourie, and I hope everyone gets a chance to have a wander around and have a look and see what we've been up to. I'm sure that most of you know about Aldourie already, but for those who don't, we're an exclusive use venue. We've got 12 bedrooms in the castle. We can dine 24 guests down at the castle. And then we also have some self-catering cottages on the estate as well, which are slowly being renovated sort of one at a time. So we'll hopefully have those all ready for letting out by May. During our renovations, we had our boathouse built, which gives us another option for lunch, afternoon tea and drinks. And it's got stunning views overlooking Loch Ness. It will be open, so when we go down to the castle in a bit, if people want to wander down and have a look in the boathouse, please feel free. And the Steadings, which I'm sure you'll all agree is a great venue, and we can cater for up to 40 sitting down here in the Steadings in the dining hall. This is our dance hall, so we usually have a band and plenty of space for dancing with the bar at the end. And if anyone wants to have a look, we've also got, over the other side of the Steadings, we've got our boardroom, which can seat up to 12. We've got a dedicated yoga space as well, well-being space. And we've also got a whiskey tasting room. So if anybody's got any questions for us today, myself or Lavinia are around, so just feel free to chat to us. We'll be shortly moving, after the Q&A, we'll be shortly moving back through to the dining hall where we're having some lunch. And then hopefully if you all have time and if you've got, have a wander down to the castle, we'll be doing some tours down there. There's quite a lot of people, so if there's nobody around to take a tour, just feel free to wander around yourself. There'll also be a garden team on hand, so they'll be doing little short garden tours if anybody's interested in that. As I said earlier, you can wander down to the boathouse and have a look around there. And then we've got Peter from Green Highlander, who'll be doing some casting lessons. Yeah. And Mike from In Your Element, who'll be doing some archery for us as well. So that's it. Okay.
Where's the whiskey tasting?
I'll go first.
So I'll invite those who want to talk about that again. I know Kerry's busy, so we'll give her a copy. Do you want to come back to the Q&A, Kerry? Have you got time? Or no? If anybody, so Emily, Julie, Catherine, Kerry, just if anybody's got any questions for them or me, I don't mind getting along because you keep us talking over you got away so long. Not that that's a bribe or anything. Between each other. Yeah. So if you've got a question, stick your hand in the air. Let us know who it's for, and we'll kind of I'm hoping you're all really hungry. Any questions, anybody? Oh, one question. Somebody has to have a question. Go on, Kev.
Insight. Do you get many insights for visitors when they get here as to what they're going on to do and stuff? Do you know?
No, it's really it's hard data to capture. I would be really interested in getting that, but that is one thing where we can look to work together on, and to see how we can make that happen. So, you guys can let us know kind of what numbers that you are working with. We can pull that together. We can share it around. We do get for accommodation and stuff like that. There are figures, but the activities and stuff that people are taking part in. It's but that is something that absolutely on a local level, working together, we can make happen.
Is that potentially an opportunity then to develop?
100%, 100%, yeah. Data is key. Data is key to everything. It informs decisions, or allows us to make informed decisions. So if we can come up with some way to pull together data from businesses that wouldn't traditionally be pulled together in other ways, I'm all for that. Yeah. Any more? Hina.
Can I ask, how long did the refurbishment or development take?
Lavinia, you could probably help a bit more on this one, but about 4 years, was it?
Correct. We closed in October 2018 with the intention of closing for 18 months. Fortunately, as we all know, COVID and everything else hit in between. But we took that time and opportunity to add additional elements to the project. So it started off really as a kitchen refit within the castle and a landscaping project. What we ended up with was a complete renovation of the interior of the castle, a completion of our landscaping projects, complete renovation of the steadings here, the addition of a boathouse, the addition of a new gate lodge. So I'm delighted that we eventually reopened with a soft reopening last autumn and gradually picking up business this year now. So we're delighted to be back open. Yes, it's been a long haul, but delighted that we got to add a few extra bits to the project as well. So thank you to the local community, in particular our Doors local community, for putting up with us, and delighted that we're back in exploring and enjoying the estate as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more for any more? Sharon?
Julia, how do you promote yourself to get your inquiries?
Basically, we're mainly word of mouth. We're a very organic company. I've been in the travel trade for about 30 years, and during my time in the travel trade, I've met travel agents all around the world. And the company actually started by accident with a Chinese travel agent asking me to take a group from Loch Ness, and I said, from Invergordon, and I actually said to him, there's companies out there that do that, and he went, well, I want you. And I went, why do you want me? And he went, I just want you, I know how you work, I know who you are. And I thought, oh, so it all expanded from there, and bit by bit, just from meeting travel companies that on the Spirit Journeys worldwide, when we take people into Scotland on tour, they end up booking another tour to another country with us as well. So we are very, very organic.
Any more, or are we going to have something?
Can I ask a question to Sam? Sorry to ask another question. Do you take people from all over Scotland, or just during the
No, I mean, people from the UK. I mean, we've only been going 12 months, so yeah, we've done 10 events. But no, so it's, I mean, marketing, I'm essentially a one-man band. I contract everyone else, so marketing is a challenge for me, learning social media.
Very clear, I mean, as in people like, because you have listed all those personalities on your board,
yeah.
So like holistic sort of providers and stuff.
Oh, I see what you mean. So nearly everyone I'm working with at the moment is from within Drum, Kirkhill, Inverness. Yeah. But I'm making contacts with people from all over the UK. One of the things I want to do this year is develop some online courses, live, recorded, hybrid. So that will enable me to work with other people, because the reality is bringing people from other parts of the UK to deliver face-to-face event is not realistic for me financially at the moment, because I'm a new brand. So hopefully that will enable me to work with some other people who bring particular skills. Yeah. I mean, I could push it in so many different ways, but I've got to try to remain realistic and maintain the quality is obviously the really important thing. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. I'm not going to give Kev another chance to ask any more questions. So we'll get ready and we'll head off for lunch. If anybody's got anything that they think of afterwards, you can approach us directly. But just before you go, Kerry, when she stood up there, said that, give thanks to Visit Inverness Loch Ness for organising this. And, that's false praise, because to be honest, it's Aldourie that have done everything. They offered to host us. They've been really helpful. They've provided IT equipment. We've essentially had to turn up here today, talk, and bring these guys with us. So to Lavinia, the Kerry, and their team here, thank you very much.